Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this evening's Condo Review Board dated Monday, April 28th, 2025. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, this meeting of the Condo Review Board will be conducted via remote participation. We will post an audio recording, audio-video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of these proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting on the City of Somerville website and local cable access government channels. All right, Miranda, if you can please conduct a roll call vote to ensure we have a quorum.
Okay. Chair Zasloff,
Present.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Present.
Board Member Simeon,
Present.
Board Member Solis, Board Member Solis. Board Member Solis is absent with 3 in attendance. We have a quorum.
All right, at this time, I will now call this evening's meeting to order. And the first item on this evening's agenda will be some administrative cleanup and reviewing the meeting minutes from previous Condo Review Board dated March 2025. Motion to open the floor for board discussions. Any board members have any edits or clarifications they would like to see added to the March 2025 meeting minutes?
I'll move.
All right, seeing no edits or corrections, I will now motion for the board to vote and approve the March 2025 meeting minutes.
Okay, this is a motion to approve the March 2025 meeting minutes. Chair Zasloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne. Oh, Vice Chair Byrne, you muted during your vote.
Sorry. Yes.
All right, Board Member Simeon,
Yes.
the motion passes.
All right, thank you very much. Moving along. Next item is new business for the board to review, and those are the applications for final and or courtesy permits. First application in front of the board this evening is 7-9 Charnwood Road. Application Jonathan Bernhardt seeking final conversion permit for Unit 7 at 7-9 Charnwood Road, and they are represented by Attorney Sherman.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me?
We can. Good evening.
Thank you very much. I represent Jonathan Bernhardt. We were before the board on March 24th with an application for permits for Unit 7 and Unit 9. Mr. Bernhardt is the owner of the property. He was occupying Unit 9. The tenant in Unit 7 is his ex-spouse. On March 24th, we were given a final permit for Unit 9 and a preliminary conversion permit for Unit 7. In the interim, the tenant in Unit 7 and Mr. Bernhardt have entered into a purchase and sale agreement whereby the tenant is going to purchase the unit. The signed purchase and sale agreement has been submitted to the board, and accordingly, we're requesting that the board now issue a final conversion permit for Unit 7.
All right, thank you very much, Attorney Sherman. Motion to open the floor for board discussion. Any questions from the board to the attorney representing Mr. Bernhardt?
I have no questions.
No question.
And there's no questions or discussion. Motion to close the floor for board discussion and motion to open the public commenting period. If anyone in the virtual audience would like to speak in favor or against the final conversion permit for Unit 7 at 7-9 Charnwood Road, now would be the time to do so.
I don't see any hands.
All right, seeing there's no public commentary, motion to close the public commentary period. Seeing this is straightforward, and there is now a P&S agreement between the current owner and his ex-spouse. I see no other outstanding items with the application, and I'm comfortable making a motion for the board to vote on a final conversion permit for Unit 7 at 7-9 Charnwood Road. Moraine, if we could conduct a roll call vote.
Okay, this is a vote for final conversion permits for Unit 7 at 7-9 Charnwood Road. Chair Zasloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Yes,
Board Member Simeon,
Yes.
the motion passes.
Thank you very much. Moving along this evening's agenda. Next item is 355 Highland Avenue, and that is the application of Whitewater Real Estate LLC, Rob Titkin, and they are seeking a final conversion permit for units 1, 2, and 3 located at 355 Highland Avenue, and they are represented by Attorney Donnelly, which I believe is Mr. Dash filling in for him.
No.
Okay.
That's, I have two versions of Attorney Donnelly. Oh, there's one raised hand. All right.
Good afternoon, board members. Attorney Chris Donnelly here. Can you hear me okay?
We can. Attorney Donnelly, if you can please just review the application in front of us.
Yes, absolutely. So good afternoon again, board members. Attorney Chris Donnelly, and I'm joined by my associate, Kristen Lau, and the principal of Whitewater Real Estate LLC, Robert Tickton, is on the Zoom this afternoon with me. 355 Highland Avenue is a single 3-family residential building. We were before the board on May 20th, 2024, seeking a preliminary permit, which was granted. We're here today seeking a final conversion permit from the board. There are 3 units in the property, all of which were occupied at the time we served the initial notice of intent to convert in March of 2024. Since we were before you last May, the occupants in Unit 1 and Unit 2 both waived their right to receive an offer to purchase the property, and they've submitted affidavits to that effect that were with our materials. The Unit 3 tenants that were in place at the time we served notice notified the owner several weeks after the notice was received that they would be vacating the property voluntarily. They moved out of the property on June 2nd, 2024, and they requested and received the relocation payment to which they were entitled. That total amount, I believe, was about a little over $7,300. We submitted with our application materials copies of the checks to those 2 tenants. Those tenants also notified the owner that they were not interested in purchasing the unit. My office has contacted those tenants by certified mail, first-class mail, and email, seeking that they cooperate with us to provide an affidavit confirming those facts. The certified mail was returned to us as not delivered, but the first-class mail was not returned. And the email, we received no reply to the email. We also did, the owner did confirm the former tenant's address with them several days before we sent the materials to them. So we have not heard back from them on that matter. And today we are seeking the final conversion permit from the board, respectfully.
All right. Thank you very much, Attorney Donnelly. I will now make a motion to open the floor for board discussion. Any board members have any follow-up questions?
no question.
No concern.
Seeing there's no further discussion from the board, motion to close the floor for discussion amongst the board, and motion to open the public commentary period. If anyone would like to speak in favor or against the application for 355 Highland Avenue, units 1, 2, and 3, now would be the time to do so.
I don't see any hands.
All right, thank you very much. Motion to close the public commenting period. In reviewing the outstanding documents, it looks like we are now in receipt of the master deed and engineer's report, along with the tenants waiving their rights and units, 3 tenants accepting the relocation payment. I see no other outstanding issues with the application. So at this time, I will make a motion for the board to vote on a final conversion permits for units 1, 2, and 3 at 355 Highland Avenue. Morena, if we could please conduct a roll call vote.
Okay, this is a vote for final conversion permits for units 1, 2, and 3 at 355 Highland Avenue. Chair Zasloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Yes.
Board Member Simeon,
Yes.
the motion passes.
Thank you, board members.
Thank you. Have a great night. All right, moving along. Next application from the board is the application of 11 MacArthur Street, 11 MacArthur LLC, Kevin Brett, seeking a final conversion permit for Unit A at 11 MacArthur Street. And I believe Mr. Brett is represented by Attorney Dash.
That's correct, Mr. Chair. Attorney Adam Dash, 48 Grove Street in Somerville. Good to see you.
You too, likewise.
So this is a fairly simple one. We're representing 11 MacArthur LLC, which is seeking the final conversion permit for Unit A. This was a single family, owner occupied. We have the preliminary permits and now seek the final permit for that Unit A. I believe everything was submitted, including the master deeds, so pretty much it.
Yep, very good. Thank you very much, Attorney Dash. At this time, I'll motion to open the floor for board discussion. If anyone has any follow-up questions for the attorney representing 11 MacArthur Street.
No question.
No questions.
Very much. Motion to close the floor for board discussion. Motion to open the public commentary period. If anyone would, in the virtual audience, would like to speak in favor or against the application of 11 MacArthur Street, Unit A, now would be the time to do so.
I don't see any hands.
Motion to close public commenting and reviewing the application. The outstanding items have been submitted at this time as Attorney Dash reviewed the engineer architect's report and master deed with everything in good standing. I will now make a motion for the board to vote on the final conversion permit for Unit A located at 11 MacArthur Street.
Okay, this is a vote for final conversion permits for Unit A at 11 MacArthur Street. Chair Zasloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Yes.
Board Member Simeon,
Yes.
the motion passes.
We will continue along, and the next application from the board this evening is 19 Fenwick Street. Application of 19 Fenwick Street LLC, also owned by Kevin Brett, seeking a final conversion permits for Unit 4 at 19 Fenwick Street, and again, represented by Attorney Dash.
Once again, Attorney Adam Dash, 48 Grove Street in Somerville, representing 19 Fenwick Street LLC. We're seeking a final conversion permit for Unit 4. For the other 3 units, which were owner occupied, those permits have already issued. And now that 1 year has elapsed, the applicant is asking for the Unit 4 final permit. That unit has been vacant for more than a year.
Thank you very much. Motion to open the floor for board discussion. If any board members have any follow-up questions for Attorney Dash regarding 19 Fenwick Street.
No question.
No question.
All right. Seeing there's no further discussion, motion to close the floor for board discussion and motion to open the floor for public commentary. If anyone in the virtual audience would like to speak in favor or against the application from the board this evening for Unit 4 at 19 Fenwick Street.
I don't see any hands.
Right, public commentary is now closed. Again, straightforward application. All documents had already been previously submitted. The applicant was waiting on the 1 year lapse to come back in front of the board, and that timetable has now lapsed. So I am comfortable making a motion for the board to vote on the final conversion permit for Unit 4 at 19 Fenwick Street.
Okay, this is a vote for a final conversion permit for Unit 4 at 19 Fenwick Street. Chair Zasloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Yes.
Board Member Simeon,
Yes.
the motion passes.
Thank you very much. Moving along, we are now at 29 Pritchard Avenue, application at 29 Pritchard Avenue LLC.
That's me as well.
Yes, I was gonna attempt to say the applicant's name, but I know it will be butchered, so I'm going to refrain from attempting that. Maybe Attorney Dash can help us out there. Seeking final conversion permits for units 1, 2, and 3 at 29 Pritchard Avenue.
Correct. Attorney Adam Dash, 48 Grove Street, Somerville, representing the applicant 29 Pritchard Avenue LLC, and I believe the name you were trying to state was Chandra Deepak Amanani. So we're seeking the final conversion permit for units 1, 2, and 3, which were all owner occupied and delivered empty. There were no tenants. I believe everything is in order for this one, which is fairly straightforward, including some affidavits from the prior owners who verify the owner occupancy.
Thank you very much. I will now motion to open the floor for board discussion. If any board members have any follow-up questions for Attorney Dash in regards to 29 Pritchard Avenue's final conversion permits for 1, 2, and 3.
No concerns,
question.
no questions.
Seeing there's no follow-up discussion, motion to close the floor for board discussion, motion to open the public commentary period. Anyone in the virtual audience would like to speak in favor or against this application, 29 Pritchard Avenue for units 1, 2, and 3, now would be the time to do so.
I don't see any hands.
All right, public commenting period for 29 Pritchard Avenue is now closed. Again, straightforward application. All documents have been submitted, including affidavits from prior owner. I will now make a motion for the board to vote on the final conversion permits for units 1, 2, and 3 located at 29 Pritchard Avenue.
Okay, this is a vote for final conversion permits for units 1, 2, and 3 at 29 Pritchard Avenue. Chair Zasloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Yes.
Board Member Simeon.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, moving along, final application in the final permit portion of tonight's agenda, and that is the application 156 Albion LLC. Narajan Golan seeking courtesy conversion permits for 3 and 4 at 156 Albion.
And that's also me, Attorney Adam Dash, 48 Grove Street in Somerville, representing 156 Albion LLC, seeking, as you said, courtesy conversion permits for units 3 and 4. These are new construction units, and the permits already issued for the old units.
Thank you very much. Motion to open the floor for board discussion. If there's any follow-up questions for Attorney Dash regarding the application of 156 Albion Street.
No,
No question.
no question.
Thank you very much. Motion to close the floor for board discussion. And now I would like to motion to open the public commentary. If anyone would like to speak in favor or against the 2 new units being added at 156 Albion Street, units 3 and 4, now would be the time to do so.
I don't see any hands.
All right, public commentary. Motion to close public commentary is now closed. And I will make a motion for the board to vote on the courtesy conversion permits for units 3 and 4 located at 156 Albion Street.
Okay, this is a vote to for courtesy permits for units 3 and 4 at 156 Albion Street. Chair Zasloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Yes.
Board Member Simeon.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Great. Looks like we're going to give Attorney Dash a little break here before we get back in front of the board. We are now into the preliminary condo conversion permit portion of tonight's agenda, and the first application is 14 Grandview Avenue. It's the application of Adam Cousin and Alex Ross Schrager seeking a preliminary non-rental conversion permits for units 1 and 2 at 14 Grandview Avenue, and they're represented by Attorney Reeves.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
We can.
Great. I represent the applicant. They are seeking to convert their two-family residence into a two-unit condominium. They purchased the property in May 2022. They purchased it from a family. The family was occupying both units at that point. The property was vacant while they did renovations. In June 2023, the parents of Alex Rothschrager, one of the co-owners, moved into Unit 2, where they have lived since. In November 2023, the applicants moved into their unit. Since 2023, the parents and the applicants have lived in both units, and they share costs of maintaining the property.
All right, thank you very much. This time I will make a motion to open the floor for board discussion. If fellow board members have any questions for the attorney representing 14 Grandview Avenue.
I don't have any questions.
No question.
Okay.
Simple.
I will now motion to close the floor for board discussion and motion to open the floor for public commentary. If anyone in the virtual audience would like to speak in favor or against the application at 14 Grandview Avenue for units 1 and 2, now would be the time to do so.
I don't see any hands.
Okay, public commentary period for 14 Grandview Avenue is now closed. In reviewing the application, it looks like we have the residential exemption in effect. The certificate of good standing has been submitted as of 4/9. We have a water bill dated 4/15. Quitclaim deed has been submitted and a check in the amount of $1,200 to cover the 2 units in question. At this time, we are still awaiting a master deed and engineer architecture report. At this time, I am okay with motioning the board to vote on a preliminary non-rental conversion permit for units 1 and 2 at 14 Grandview Avenue on the condition that the 2 outstanding documents, the master deed and engineer's report, is submitted to city staff at a future date.
Okay, this is a vote for preliminary non-rental conversion permits for units 1 and 2 at 14 Grandview Avenue, conditioned as Chair Zasloff just stated. Chair Zasloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Yes.
Board Member Simeon,
Yes.
the motion passes.
All right, great. Thank you. Moving along. Next preliminary condo conversion application from the board is that of 160 Pearl Street Mortgage Trust, Jay Johnson, seeking a preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1, 2, and 3 at 160 Pearl Street, and they are being represented by Attorney Valenzola.
Good evening. Attorney Matt Valenzola on behalf of 160 Pearl Street Mortgage Trust, the current owner of the property. My client is applying for a condo conversion permit, so he's able to renovate a 3-unit property that's sat in an unoccupied and partially demolished state for over 2 years. My client acquired this property through a foreclosure deed in February of this year due to the borrower defaulting on his loan. The property's been unoccupied since my client provided said financing in 2023. So he looks forward to continuing with the rehab and bringing 3 units to the market next year.
Thank you very much. Now motion to open the floor for board discussion regarding the preliminary rental conversion application at 160 Pearl Street to units 1, 2, and 3.
No question.
No questions.
All right, seeing no discussion from the board, motion to close the floor and motion to open the public commentary period. If anyone in the virtual audience would like to speak in favor or against the application, the preliminary rental conversion application for 160 Pearl Streets, units 1, 2, and 3, now would be the time to do so.
I don't see any hands.
Motion to close public commentary. In reviewing the application, you have the 1-year waiting periods for units. I'm sorry. Yes, we do have a 1-year waiting period for 1, 2, and 3. At this time, what we do have as part of the application is certificate of good standing, paid water bill, which included the tax lien amounts that were outstanding. We have the quitclaim deed submitted, and we have a check in the amount of $1,800. At this time, we are still waiting the master deed and engineer's report. On that note, I will now make a motion for the board to vote on the preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1, 2, and 3 at 160 Pearl Street, conditioned on the submission of the master deed and engineer's report at a future date to the city staff.
Okay, this is a vote for preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1, 2, and 3 at 160 Pearl Street, conditioned as Chair Zasloff just stated. Chair Zasloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Yes.
Board Member Simeon,
Yes.
the motion passes.
Thank you, board.
All right, thank you very much. As we continue through this evening's agenda, we are now on the application of 6 Wheatland Street, application of NPO Properties LLC, Nelson D. Oliveria, seeking a preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1 and 2. And they are looking to add 3 additional units to be built, which they will seek courtesy permits at a future date. I believe we have Attorney Dash representing this property.
Yes, Mr. Chair, you do. Attorney Adam Dash, 48 Grove Street, Somerville, representing NPO Properties LLC, as you said, seeking preliminary permits for units 1 and 2. They have been vacant for several years, as is stated in the affidavits that have been filed. The applicant will be building 3 units on this site and ask for courtesy permits at that point after the building's demolished and such, but we're not at that stage right now. All the documents have been filed according to applicable affidavits, the good standing certificate, water bill, deed, certified check, all that are required at least for tonight.
Yep.
So that's what we got.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, Attorney Dash. At this time, I will motion to open the floor for board discussion. Any board members have any follow-up questions for the attorney this evening?
No question.
No question.
All right, thank you, board members. The floor is now closed for discussion. Motion to open the floor for public commentary. If anyone in the virtual audience would like to speak in favor or against the 2 units, units 1 and 2 at 6 Wheatland Street, now would be the time to do so.
I don't see any hands.
All right, motion to close the public commentary. And as Attorney Dash reviewed with the board, he's seeking a conditional preliminary conversion permits for units 1 and 2. At this time, we have the certificate of good standing submitted, the paid water bill, a quitclaim deed, and a check in the amount of $1,200 for the 2 units in front of the board this evening. At this time, we are still awaiting the master deed and engineer and architect's report that will be submitted at a future date. So in reviewing that, I'm comfortable making a motion for the board to vote on the conditional preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1 and 2 at 6 Wheatland Street on the condition that the master deed and engineer's report is submitted at a future date to city staff.
Okay, this is a vote for preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1 and 2 at 6 Wheatland Street, conditioned as Chair Zasloff just stated. Chair Zasloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Yes.
Board Member Simeon,
Yes.
the motion passes.
Thank you. Moving along, we have the next application from the board, and that's 13 Arlington Street. Application of Jenny Chen, seeking preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1, 2, 3, located at 13 Arlington Street.
Yes, Attorney Adam Dash, representing Jenny Hua Chen, seeking preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1, 2, and 3. It was vacant, but it did have tenants that were subject to the 1-year notice, and the notices were properly sent. I would note that The affidavit has been filed by the applicant for the situation that the units were vacant because the leases had expired back in, one of them expired in September, one in October, one in December. The applicant then later filed months later in April of 2025. As an aside, if you look in the application, even though the leases were up in August of 2024, the applicant did let the tenant stay for months afterwards, did forgive rent for one of the tenants, has actually been pretty good in being a good landlord in this situation. As I said, the affidavit's there and the proof of the notices, so we would ask for those to issue tonight.
All right. Thank you, Attorney Dash. Motion to open the floor for board discussion regarding 13 Arlington Street, units 1, 2, and 3. Vice Chair Byrne, I believe you have a question.
I do, and maybe I'm just confused, and so I ask for clarification. Since the tenants have been in the building in the last year, I would think that they should have been given some moving support. Am I wrong about that?
Oh, sorry, was that a question for me?
Yeah, I believe it's directed to you, Attorney Dash.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm covering for Attorney Sheehan on this matter, so I apologize. I am looking at the application here. Former tenants were notified. The time, I believe, when the leases expired, they were not terminated, they expired. The property was in super poor condition, which was one of the reasons why, or just it needed significant repairs, let's put it that way, and that's why the leases were not renewed. The condominium piece did not come up until later. My client decided to do that. So I don't know if payments would be due. If the tenants had already left prior to forming the intent to condo, which is what happened.
It's concerning to me that the leases expired, that the owner decided not to renew the leases, and then several months later decided to make them into condominiums, and that way not doing what the ordinance was put in place for, which is to protect the tenants. And I'm just, I'm concerned about it. I'm concerned about it.
Yep. Board member Simeon, do you have any questions or feedback, commentary in regards to this application?
Only one thing I would like to know also is like if is that the tenant willing to renew the contract, and then the owner refuse or something like that. I would like, I would like more info on that one, because I think if it's just the contract is, it turned to the end, and then they would like to continue, and then if the owner stop and then decide to do otherwise, that's, yes, it is concerning.
Yeah, well, I agree with both of you. I mean, it does appear to be somewhat concerning. I don't know if there is a way to prove that the developer, the owner had intent.
I would notice, Adam Dash, I would note that eight months ran between when the leases ended and the application for tonight was filed. The fact that the tenants were there longer was the applicant being nice. As she said in her affidavit, she was allowing people to stay additional time beyond that expiration of the lease until they could find alternate housing. And in one case, didn't charge for part of it and forgave the rent for that time to help them out. So, and it was all done, as stated in the application, because of the poor condition of the property that needed significant repair. So that was the driving force in August when the leases were not renewed. Just because she was nice and let them stay longer, I don't think that she should be punished for that. That was actually a good thing. So really, we're talking about when in August, when this all happened, it was with the idea of having it vacant so that the repairs could be made. That was the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
The condominium conversion piece came around later. But again, the fact that the tenants were there longer was just, being nice. She didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
My question again, it's like, did it was a month to month, or it's a yearly contract?
Well, it sounds like it ran yearly until
Yearly.
and then, the lease ran its course, but the current owner allowed the tenants, one of them to stay through September, one through October, and one through December.
When you say that the conditions were very poor, are there any reports from inspectional services about those conditions?
Yeah, I don't want to overstate it. I mean, there were, I haven't been there, so forgive me, but again, this is Adam Dash, but the condition was such she needed to make what she described, that the owner described as significant repairs, and the tenants couldn't be there. Nobody could be there during that. That was the impetus for not renewing the leases. Obviously, it's not in her interest to have a space vacant for periods of time. So that's why she was, being forgiving about it, and that's why she was doing it. I'm not aware of an instance with inspectional services being involved. I mean, one can recognize one's own repair needs without having to get cited for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
So,
know the answer to that.
Yeah. Vice Chair Byrne, I mean, at this time, I don't think we have any grounds to not to hold this up in the current format that it's presented to us. I mean, I somewhat agree with the line of questioning. It does appear to, I mean, there could be a case made that, there was intent to convert, but I don't see how it can be proved at this point. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I will say Attorney Dash, from, my history of working with him and him being part of the Somerville community for, 25 plus 30 years. I'm not trying to date you, Attorney Dash, but
I'm already married. That's fine.
all my interactions with Attorney Dash has been on the up and up. So again, he's only representing the client, but I would tend to give him the benefit of the doubt on this one. Any other discussion amongst the board?
No more.
Vice Chair Byrne?
you know, I tend to agree with you, Chair, that we can't prove intent. It's just one of those sticky businesses where, you know, kind of looks a little funky, but we can't prove it.
I don't disagree. Okay, on that note, I will motion to close the floor for board discussion. Open the floor for public commentary. If anyone in the virtual audience would like to speak in favor or against the application at 13 Arlington Streets for units 1, 2, and 3, now would be the time to do so.
I do have a hand.
All right.
Ms. Ryan, you've been unmuted.
Hi, this is Corinne Ryan. I was a tenant at 13 Arlington, and I have to agree with the conversation that we can't prove intent because the previous owners wanted a new owner who would keep the tenants. And she gave us, we renewed the lease for a year. And in July, she let us know that by August we need to vacate, but she'll give us till September. It was an old house. It wasn't an unsafe place to live. I lived there for 4 years. It wasn't unsafe. Were they upgrades that needed to be made to make it more modern? Yes, but I have to agree with the team, right? In which I think that the intent was to turn it over into a condo when she bought it, but we can't prove that.
Okay. Your commentary is part of the record, so we do appreciate that. And
sure.
Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to testify this evening.
Sure.
Anything else you'd like to add to the record?
That's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Ryan. All right. Any other public commentary, Marina?
I don't see any other hands.
Okay. Public motion to close public commentary. In reviewing the application, obviously the 3 units are now vacant. We've listened to the testimony regarding that situation. In regards to the outstanding items with the application, it looks like we are still in need of a master deed and engineer's report at this time. We have a certificate of good standing, we have a paid water bill, we have a quitclaim deed, and we have a check in the amount of $1,800 to cover the 3 units in question. So at this time, I am comfortable making a motion for the board to vote on a conditional preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1, 2, and 3 at 13 Arlington Street on the condition that the master deed and engineer's report is submitted to the city staff at a future date.
Okay, this is a vote for preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1, 2, and 3 at 13 Arlington Street. Chair Zasloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Uncomfortably, yes.
Board Member Simeon.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Great. We are now on to our final preliminary rental conversion permit this evening, and that is 60 Derby Street. The application of Diego Nunes, seeking preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 at 60 Derby Street, and they are represented by Attorney Dash again. Busy night
Yes.
for Dash and Associates.
Yeah, it's the 1 week when Mark goes on vacation, of course. Attorney Adam Dash, 48 Grove Street, Somerville, representing Diego Nunez, 60 Derby LLC, seeking the preliminary rental conversion permit for units 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They've been vacant for more than a year. They were vacant because there was a fire over a year ago in 2024, and the application was filed over a year after that fire. The property's been vacant for a long time before the applicant bought it because of the fire. So that's the situation.
Okay. Thank you very much, Attorney Dash. At this time, motion to open the floor for board discussion. Vice Chair Byrne, Board Member Simeon, any questions for Attorney Dash in regards to 60 Derby Street?
Yes, the only question I had was what happened to the tenants who were there when the fire happened? Was there any attempt to see where they were.
This is Adam Dash. I don't know the answer to that because my client purchased it after all of that. And there was obviously no tenant outreach because it had been vacant for over a year at that point. And were delivered in that condition to my client due to the fire. Certainly nobody intentionally displaced anybody. But I don't have an answer as to what happened to those tenants because we don't have any way of knowing that or where they are.
Understood. Vice Chair Byrne, that answers suffice.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Board Member Simeon, any follow-up questions?
No.
Okay. Seeing there's no further commentary out of the board, motion to close the floor and motion to open the floor for public commentary. If anyone in the virtual audience would like to speak in favor against the application for 60 Derby Street, units 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, now would be the time to do so.
I don't see any hands.
Public commentary. Public commenting for 60 Derby Street is now closed. And reviewing the application, it looks like we are still awaiting the master deed and engineer's report. We do have submitted the certificate of good standing, paid water bill, and a check in the amount of $3,600 for the 6 units in question. So at this time, I am comfortable making a motion for the board to vote on a conditional preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 located at 60 Derby Street on the condition that that master deed and engineer's report is submitted to city staff at a future date.
Okay, this is a vote for preliminary rental conversion permits for units 1 through 6 at 60 Derby Street. Chair Zasloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Byrne,
Yes.
Board Member Simeon.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Mhm. Very good. That at this time concludes the applications on tonight's agenda. I'd like to thank all the attorneys and applicants this evening, along with my fellow board members. And on that note, I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second it.
All right. That concludes our April 28th, 2025 Condo Review Board meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Marina, can you stay on for a minute with me? You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. No, because we're recording, but I will,
Okay.
I
Okay,
can
thank
send you, I can call you. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
good.